Hello guys, welcome back to another video, and today we are going over the Portugal Iceberg. Let's dive in. Cristiano Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo is a Portuguese professional footballer, widely regarded as one of the greatest players in the history of the sport. He's known for his incredible goal-scoring ability, athleticism, and longevity, having played for top clubs like Manchester United, Real Madrid, Juventus, and Al Nassr. Over his career, he has won multiple Ballon d'Or awards, Champions League titles, and set numerous scoring records. Portuguese Empire. The Portuguese Empire was one of the longest-lasting empires in history, beginning in the early 15th century and lasting until 1999. It started with Portugal's maritime explorations during the Age of Discovery, leading to colonies and trading posts across Africa, Asia, and South America. The empire's most famous colony was Brazil, which became independent in 1822, while others like Angola, Mozambique, and Goa remained under Portuguese control much longer. World War I. Portugal joined World War I on the side of the Allies in 1916 after tensions with Germany over the seizure of German ships in Portuguese ports. Portuguese troops fought mainly on the Western Front in France, most notably in the Battle of La Lys in 1918, where they suffered heavy losses. Portugal also defended its African colonies, Angola and Mozambique, against German forces from neighboring colonies. Maddie's disappearance. Maddie McCann's disappearance occurred on May 3, 2007, when the 3-year-old British girl vanished from a holiday apartment in Praia da Luz, Portugal, while her parents were dining nearby. The case became one of the most publicized missing person investigations in modern history, drawing massive media attention worldwide. Despite extensive searches and multiple investigations by Portuguese and British authorities, her exact fate remains unknown. First Europeans to arrive in Japan. The first Europeans to arrive in Japan were the Portuguese, who landed in 1543. They arrived on Tanegashima Island after their ship was blown off course, marking the beginning of direct contact between Japan and Europe. The Portuguese introduced firearms, Christianity, and new trade goods, which had a lasting impact on Japanese warfare and culture. Iberian Union. The Iberian Union was a political union that joined the kingdoms of Portugal and Spain under a single monarch, King Philip II of Spain. It began after Portugal's King Sebastian I died without an heir, leading to a succession crisis that allowed Spain to take control. Although Portugal kept its own laws, currency, and colonial administration, Spanish rule caused resentment and economic decline, especially as Portugal was dragged into Spain's wars. Alliance with the British. The alliance between Portugal and Britain is one of the oldest in the world, officially established by the Treaty of Windsor in 1386. It began when both nations agreed to support each other militarily and politically, a partnership that has endured for centuries. The alliance proved vital during major conflicts, such as the Napoleonic Wars, when Britain helped defend Portugal from French invasion, and World War II, when Portugal allowed Britain to use the Azores. World War II. During World War II, Portugal remained officially neutral under the leadership of Prime Minister Antonio de Oliveira Salazar. Despite its neutrality, Portugal played a strategic role by allowing the Allies to use the Azores Islands as a military base, which was crucial for controlling Atlantic sea routes. The country maintained trade with both Axis and Allied powers, balancing carefully to protect its interests and colonial possessions. Discovery of Australia. Australia was first encountered by Europeans in 1606 when Dutch explorers, led by Willem Janszoon, landed on the western coast of Cape York Peninsula, naming the region New Holland. Over the 17th century, Dutch ships mapped parts of the Australian coastline but made no permanent settlements. The continent was later claimed by the British in 1770 when Captain James Cook charted the east coast and named it New South Wales. Apparitions of Fatima. The Apparitions of Fatima refer to a series of reported visions of the Virgin Mary by 3 young Portuguese shepherd children, Lucia dos Santos and her cousins Francisco and Jacinta Marto, in 1917. Between May and October of that year, the children said Mary appeared to them 6 times near the town of Fatima, delivering messages calling for prayer, repentance, and devotion to her Immaculate Heart. The apparitions gained worldwide attention, especially after the children's predictions of future events, including the miracle of the sun, witnessed by thousands in October 1917. Passarola. The Passarola was an early flying machine conceptualized and reportedly built by the Portuguese inventor Bartolomeu de Gusmão around 1709. It's considered one of the first attempts at human flight, often described as a kind of airship or glider, resembling a large bird, hence the name Passarola, which means big bird in Portuguese. Gusmão demonstrated a small model of the device before the Portuguese court, impressing many with his ideas about lighter-than-air flight. The Fifth Empire. The idea of the Fifth Empire, or Quinto Imperio, is a mystical and cultural concept rooted in Portuguese history and prophecy, especially linked to the 16th century poet Fernando Pessoa. It envisions a future global empire led by Portugal, combining spiritual and political power to bring about a new golden age of peace and enlightenment. The concept draws from biblical prophecies and Portugal's past imperial glory, symbolizing a kind of divine destiny or mission for the nation. Refusal of the Spanish. King Luis I of Portugal was offered the Spanish crown in 1870, during a time of political instability in Spain following Queen Isabella II's deposition. However, he refused the offer, preferring to maintain Portugal's independence and avoid any potential conflict with Spain or other European powers. His decision was influenced by the long history of rivalry and tension between the two Iberian nations. Nazi gold. During World War II, Portugal, under Antonio de Oliveira Salazar's neutral government, became a key financial hub, and it is widely believed that Nazi gold passed through the country. Germany used gold, much of it looted from occupied Europe, to pay Portugal for tungsten, a valuable metal used in weapons production. The Portuguese Central Bank, Banco de Portugal, accumulated large gold reserves as a result of this trade. Colonies in Canada. It is believed that Portuguese explorers were among the first Europeans to reach parts of eastern Canada before other nations. In the early 1500s, explorers such as João Fernandes Lavrador and the Corte Real brothers sailed along the coasts of Newfoundland and Labrador, with the latter region even named after Labrador. These voyages were mainly exploratory and focused on fishing and mapping rather than colonization. Portuguese king in Burma. Felipe de Brito e Nicote, a Portuguese adventurer and mercenary. In the early 1600s, he established himself in Sirium, near modern-day Yangon, and declared independence from the Burmese kingdom. He ruled the area like a local king, aligning with the Portuguese crown, and even conducting trade and military campaigns. Creation of colonialism. It's often said that Portugal played a pioneering role in the creation of colonialism, especially during the Age of Discovery in the 15th century. Portuguese explorers were among the first Europeans to establish overseas territories, starting with places like Madeira, the Azores, and later parts of Africa, Asia, and Brazil. Their methods of maritime exploration, trade outposts, and territorial claims laid the foundation for the European colonial model that other powers later expanded. And that was the end of the Portugal Iceberg. Thanks for watching, and bye.